the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia. The Lord stirred up his spirit, this king. He's already been prophesied that he's going to be king, that he's going to overthrow the Babylonian Empire. I mean, years ago before he did it. And he stirred up his spirit. He stirred up his spirit. That king, the new king, the new empire ruler. he's the ruler over this whole empire, the king of Persia. That he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in the writing. He's made a proclamation. And this first year, this is important throughout the rest of this, because people are going to forget this later. Years later, people are going to get, hey, do you remember Cyrus? Didn't he make a proclamation back on his first year after they beat Babylon that there's going to be a temple in Israel? And he's going to set people in charge to do it, to go ahead and do it. God put that on his heart. God stirred up his heart. I don't know how he did it exactly. Talked to him. I don't know, physically talked to him, but he made him, he made him. Put that on his heart. Put that on his heart to have that desire. Stirred up that spirit in him to build a temple in Jerusalem to the true God. What else? How would he know anything about the true God of Israel?
All right, so that's the question. How would he know? Who was in this place at this time? See, these are the types of things you have to kind of deduce a little bit. What famous biblical person is there when this proclamation goes forth? Daniel. Daniel's there. Now, do you think Daniel knew about Jeremiah and more specifically Isaiah's prophecy? Okay, so how do you think Cyrus found out about it? More than likely, Daniel showed it to him. So now you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. Daniel's in a position to influence Cyrus. And it really probably didn't take very much influence, seeing as how this prophecy was just over 100 years prior to Cyrus even coming on the scene. And he shows him this. See? Now, it doesn't mean that it wasn't supernatural in the sense that God gave Cyrus a heart to want to let them do this, because he could have just as easily said, no, I'm going to make you all slaves here. But you have to remember, the Jewish people were not slaves in Babylon. They were citizens in Babylon. See, I think that's the thing. They weren't slaves like they were in Egypt. They were citizens in Babylon, but they were exiled there. This is why God told Jeremiah to tell them, go to Babylon, build houses, marry wives, have children, build a life. Because you're going to be there for 70 years. They weren't slaves. Okay? And the interesting thing is when they went to go out, they didn't all go out at one time. Not all of them went at one time. Not all of them wanted to go. Some of them became so indoctrinated with the Chaldee culture, they actually wanted to stay. So that's another part of the issue. But as it pertains to Cyrus and how God works, just like we're reading in Esther, and you see how Esther is put in that position to influence her husband, the king. Well, here Daniel is in the perfect position to influence the new king.
But hold up, didn't a prophet prophesy that Cyrus was going to do his stuff?
Isaiah.
No, a prophet.
Isaiah
is a prophet.
Isaiah the prophet. Isaiah the prophet is the one that actually named Cyrus by name. 100 years before, yes.
Okay.
So my point is that Cyrus wouldn't have known that unless Daniel had told him.
Well, I understand that, but my point was that it was prophesied that Cyrus was going to do this thing 100 years before he actually did.
Yes.
So that was kind of my point.
And you have to remember
God had a plan from way
Oh, yeah.
The Chaldean people are a very superstitious people. So when they saw this prophecy, even though it wasn't from one of their gods, which is going to lead us into a few more questions I asked about, even though that wasn't one of their gods, it made him stop and realize that this God of the Jews is much more powerful than what everybody was giving him credit for. Okay, bro.
And there are people that have been exiled to Iran. I mean, modern day Iran. Persia and Edom and these other places. They have been exiled there. There's other Jewish people there, and they spread the word some. They know something about, Jewish history, and they're letting them know. Word's getting around a little bit. They know a little bit about the God of Israel. They do know about him to some degree. And like you said, Isaiah, 100 years before that. So there is some word going around. And they know what the true God has done, from Moses and other Moses' time and going on forward. I mean, there's some big things that happened. The word has gotten around to some degree. And we're talking about some other ones for sure. They know from some of these things. Connie, why don't you do number 2 for us? So did you get an answer for that? So like it does say, verse 1, by the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. Jeremiah prophesied it, and we talked about it a couple of times. There's a couple of places where he prophesied. Name one of them, Judy.
Jeremiah 25:11 and 12.
Good. 25, 11, and 12. Go ahead and find it and read it for us.
And then the other one I had was Jeremiah 29.
Good.
And I got them out of the book.
Jeremiah.
11 and 12. This entire land will become a desolate wasteland. Israel and her neighboring lands will serve the king of Babylon for 70 years. That's how long. Then, after the 70 years of captivity are over, I will punish the king of Babylon and his people for their sins, said the Lord. I will make the country of Babylon a wasteland forever.
Okay. It's prophesied.
You want me to read the other one?
Read the other one. Yeah, read the other one too.
29:10.
Read 10, 11, and 12.
What did you say?
Read 10, 11, and 12.
Okay, this is what the Lord says. Now, my heart, my mind, so I might be off the verse, but this is what the Lord says. You will be in Babylon for 70 years, but then I will come and do for you all good things that I have promised, and I will bring you home again. For I know the plans I have for you, said the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future of hope. In these days, when you pray, I will listen.
Okay.
Is that the one you want?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. When we talked about them before, the 70 years, that's the 70 years that they would be under the Babylonian rule, basically. And it starts 20 years before Jerusalem's destroyed. They go into captivity. There's a first and second siege. Happens about 606 BC. 606 BC, 3 months apart. Turn over to 2 Kings 24. 2 Kings 24. Just to give us some background a little bit and help y'all feel better about what this is about and when this was. Verse 1 says, in his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years, and he turned and rebelled against him. 3 years he was his servant. Then he rebelled against him. And then basically the Chaldeans whoop up on him and take them back as captives. Look at Daniel verse 1. Look at Daniel verse 1. Daniel, yeah. These all go together. Yep, Daniel 1:1, for sure. Yep. Daniel 1:1. You got it, Judy, read it.
During the third year of King Jehoiakim's reign in Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it.
That's exactly what we just read in Kings. Where's Daniel getting this? He lived it. He was one of the kids. He was a 13-year-old kid. And his king, Jehoiakim, rebelled. They wiped him out, put his son in charge, Jehoiachin. Puts him in there. He only lasts 3 months, and he rebels. So you got 2 sieges in 1 year, 606 BC, about that time, about 606 BC, 2 sieges. And we go through 2 kings, Jehoiakim and Jehoiachin, right? Go ahead and read verse 6, Judy. Read 6 and keep on reading all the way down to 12.
Okay.
And 2 Kings 24 still. I'm sorry.
You said second.
2 Kings 24. Yeah, sure. I'll let you keep your finger there.
Now, what verse?
Read 6 all the way through 12. 12 and 13. Yeah, I should say through 13.
When
Jehoiakim.
died, his son Jehoiachin became the next king.
Right.
The king of Egypt did not venture out of his country after that, for the king of Babylon captured the entire area formerly claimed by Egypt. But the brook of Egypt, from the brook of Egypt to the Ephraim River, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother.
Okay, stop there. So Jehoiakim dies. Jehoiachin, his son, is made king, and he rebels. He's 18 years old, smart little brat. He rebels against him. 3 months. He only lasts 3 months. And he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And they tell you what his mother's name, what his daughter's name was. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father had done. Then read verse 10.
The officer of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against Jerusalem and besieged it.
Keep going. Yeah, read 11, 12, 13.
Okay, Nebuchadnezzar himself arrived at the city during the siege. Then King Jehoiakim, along with the queen mother, his advisor, his commander, and his officials surrendered to the Babylonians. Keep going?
Keep going.
Okay. In the 8th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, he took Jehoiachin prisoner, as the Lord had said beforehand. Nebuchadnezzar carried away all the treasures from the Lord's temple and the royal palace. He stripped away all of the gold objects that King Solomon of Israel had placed in the temple. King Nebuchadnezzar took all of Jerusalem. I got to read Jehovah's in here. I'm lost. Sorry. Took all of Jerusalem's captives, including all the commanders and the best of soldiers, craftsmen, and artisans, 10,000 in all.
Okay, that's good. So I wanted to read that because it goes along with another question we got up here as well. So Jehoiachin gets conquered 3 months after he's there, and he gets taken to Babylon. So there's some other people who go captive. Within the first one or the second one of the two, I'm not sure which, to tell you the truth still, but Daniel goes. He's one of them. He writes about it. He writes about it on when so-and-so was the first king, he's taken, but the first and the second captivities, go right after each other, 3 months apart. And a lot of times they just call it one, but there's actually two, because there's two kings. Jehoiachin goes back there. He doesn't die. And when he gets older, they put him as a little internal king still. I mean, he's not bad. He lives a life in Babylon. It's not all bad for him. Even though he's a young boy there for a while, 18-year-old, and wasn't listening, he doesn't rebel later on, and it doesn't end bad for him, which is good. But it says in verse 13 that Nebuchadnezzar, he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord, the treasures of the king's house. And yours is a little bit different version. Oh, and yours does say in the eighth year of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar's reign. Yours makes it clear it's Nebuchadnezzar's reign. And the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon, king of Israel, had made in the temple of the Lord, as he had said. So you just read that. It sounds like he just cut everything to pieces and took it. But we're going to talk about that later. But this is the verse that you might get that impression, all right? But we know different because we read Daniel, right? Okay. So it's prophesied. But at this time, when they go in captive, that's 606 BC, 70 years later, exactly. Babylon is conquered by the Medes and the Persians. That writing on the wall that we talked about, it happens, buddy, just the way he says. Just the way he says. 70 years, and then this is the first year, and he said, go back and you can start making your temple. Temple. Not the city, the temple, okay? Because the other prophecy we read in Babylon talks about the city. That's when the walls are complete. They're not getting that ordered yet. That doesn't happen for a long time still. We got like 3 other kings that come along or something. But keep that in mind. All these prophecies being fulfilled just the way God said. And God puts it in his heart to allow them to go back and start in this temple. God prophecy is being fulfilled, and God knows the future. We've been reading Revelation, it's like God knows the future. Don't get worried. Don't get worried. I mean, I read this book, I get so much comfort. That makes me feel better. This world's going crazy. It keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. But God's got it. God's got it. He knows exactly what's going to happen. I don't know everything specifically what's going to happen. I'm not going to get crazy thinking about it, but it's like God's got it. God's got this taken care of. All right. So keep that in mind. So how many years have passed from the time Jeremiah prophesied until this time? 70 years. 70 years, exactly. It's 70 years. It's about 536 BC. 70 years later. 70 years later. And I like to think that in my mind because it goes with 586. That's when the temple was destroyed. It's like 50 years later. It just works out. Everything works out good. So all these things happening are fulfilling prophecy. And there's other prophecy, and there's other people in it. So let's see here. Pick on Jim. How about doing number 3 for us?
Any other prophet in the Old Testament say or allude to that? If so, who and where?
Okay. Does any other prophet in the Old Testament say or allude to this event, talking about what's going on? Oh, he's cheating. Are you all passing the answers? So what do you think? Who do you think already? I mean, we've been talking about it some. Daniel. Yeah, definitely Daniel, right? Definitely Daniel. He talked about it. He lived it. right? He's an old man time that happens. He's 84 years old, somewhere around there, 83, 84 years old. But he lived the 70 years in captivity. He did it. He knows. And he talked about it. Who's the other one you mentioned that prophesied before Jeremiah, or before Jeremiah did? 100 years before this, he talked about it? Isaiah, right? He prophesied about it, right? He's talking about Cyrus. He's going to do it, definitely. Anybody else? Haggai. What do they say? Which one did you get? I didn't get that one.
1:4.
Oh, there's. What'd you say?
Haggai 1:4.
1:4. Go ahead and read it for us. If you can find it. Shoot.
In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, or whatever, governor of Judah, and to Joshua the son of Josedek, the high priest, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, saying that this people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built.
Okay, great. You're talking about the rebuilding of the house. Maybe not the prophecy per se, but talking about the rebuilding of the temple. And Zerubbabel is the same guy that we're going to learn about here in a minute, and Ezra, that they put in charge to build it. Cyrus puts in charge. Zechariah?
1:16 and 8:9.
Zechariah 6:10. Okay, and 2:6.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercy. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. And then 8:9. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of prophets, which were in the day that the foundations of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built.
Good.
And 2 Chronicles 36:22-23.
And they say some more in Zechariah as well, but no, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And what the other one did you say?
2 Chronicles 36.
36. Yep, good. 21, 23. Yep. That's a weaker one, but it's mentioned it somewhat.
I think if you read Ezra and Nehemiah together, you kind of understand Ezra. They kind of go together, and that's how I kind of understood a little bit more.
Ezra and Nehemiah definitely go together. Yeah. Anybody get Micah? I got to look and see why I put that. But Micah 4:10. We haven't studied Micah yet, though, have we? Have we? No. Here it is. Micah 4:10, it says, Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman travail, for now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon, and there thou shalt be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. So that's part of that, just going into Babylon and going back. That's what I was thinking about. But yeah, it's like all through the Bible. There's quite a few things, and like I said, there's even more in Zechariah and the 6th chapter as well. Good job.
The 2 Chronicles 36:22-23.
Yeah, good.
Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished. The Lord stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia, that he made proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also into Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me. And he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea.
Oh, yeah.
Who is there among you, of all of his people? The Lord is God, who is him, and let him go up.
Have y'all ever looked at that before and noticed that?
That's
Turn the
all.
page back on 2 Chronicles 36. It is exactly Ezra, what we're reading here. Y'all ever notice that? But it's exactly word for word. It's right there. It's right there. Exactly. It's a repeat of it. Yeah. Repeat of it. Yeah.
Different chapters, different.
That is funny though. Right. Okay. So Santa, how about doing number 4 for us? Oh, I'm sorry. You can sit down.
How exactly, according to verse 2, did God charge Cyrus with building him a house in Jerusalem?
Man, we're not getting very far, are we? Verse 2. Sorry.
Can you read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth the Lord God of heaven hath given me. And he has commanded me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah.
So how exactly, according to verse 2, did God charge Cyrus with building them a house at Jerusalem? It says, and he hath charged me to build him an house. You got commanded. Got commanded to do it. I don't know if he told him like directly or through Daniel or somebody else, but he told him, do it. And he listened. He listened. I mean, it's kind of amazing. Kind of amazing. And talking about, and he is God. Yeah, go ahead. What are you saying? The Lord told him. I mean, he told him to do it.
Which, like I said, the most probable way that he did that is Daniel shared
Through
with him
Daniel.
what Isaiah had said. And that way he could see it. It's not like Daniel's making it up. He can see it. And he's like, oh, okay.
And I don't want to lead into the next one too much, but this is exactly the same time, y'all. Let's see here. Pick on somebody. Susanna, go ahead and turn to Daniel. Read 6:26. Daniel 6:26.
You want to read that?
Yeah.
I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men must tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and steadfast forever. His kingdom is the one which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall endure till the end.
Who's making this proclamation? Darius, the king of the Medes, or king of Babylon. That's his right-hand man. He set him over Babylon. And he's making it a decree that everybody should worship the God of Daniel, right? I mean, it's got to get to Cyrus. It's got to get to him, right? That's the true God. And Daniel was delivered from that lion's den, and that really struck. It's got to strike him, Cyrus. The word's got to get around. You deliver somebody from a lion's den, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. And that's before they conquered it then. But yeah, that's when Babylon was. It's Daniel's time when the Babylon was ruled. Yeah.
Explain the difference between Darius and Cyrus one more time.
All right. I'll give you a little bit background. I brought my little book here. Cyrus was the first king of the kings of the Medes and the Persians. All right. Persia. If it says king, Persia is the main, they always say the Persian Empire. Persian Empire. So that's the main empire. Cyrus was the first ruler. Cyrus the Great. It was actually Cyrus the Second. He is Cyrus the Second, but he's the first one we're talking about. Cyrus the Great. So he's the first one. We studied in Daniel a little bit. Then and he places Darius. I think it's his uncle, as Darius the Mede, as king over Babylon. He places him there. Huh?
That's his uncle?
I think so. I can't prove that, but I've heard that from other different people in the past.
Okay.
But he places him as king over Babylon. All right. And he's like the ruler over that, even though Cyrus is the high king, really, still. They're co-regents. Yeah, co-regents. That's what he said. That's what you call it. They're both king. They're both king. Cyrus is the main king over the Persian Empire, and he places Darius as king over the Babylonian Empire. And they'll say Darius the Mede. After that time, there's another king, Cambius II. He's for 8 years he's king. I think Darius might have still been as acting king over Babylon though during that time. And then Cyrus dies. And who becomes king over everything? Darius. Darius becomes king over everything, right? And he's king for a long time. He's king for like 24 years. Is that right? Long time. Oh, shoot. Man, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get that.
The other window's up, I think. How'd you know, Judy? And he just used to.
Just put it up. God love it. We'll call from right to the-
Look, I mean, better than, and it started raining harder.
This intermission brought to you by
Yeah,
Paul Knox.
I think I learned right now.
I love you, Robert. Out windows. I know Michael
So you got Cyrus II, Cambius II is the second king, then Darius the first, who was placed king over Babylon, becomes the third king over everything. He's the main king, and he's a long-lasting king. He's a king for a long time, till he's way up in his age. He finally died, and then Xerxes or Ahasuerus, and we read that in
Pop quiz.
and
What book in the Bible are we studying that has a Eusebius or Xerxes in it? And that was how many years after Darius, or after Babylon, I should say? It's 100 years, that's right.
long time. So he's the fourth king, and Artaxerxes the first, and there's actually four of them. Artaxerxes, there's four of them, and there's also two more Dariuses. Darius the second and Darius the third. And I get a little confused which Darius it is that we're talking about later. I got to study that some more. I'm not sure. As we're getting farther in Ezra, I'm thinking it's got to be one of the later guys. But there's three Dariuses and there's four Artaxerxes, and then that's pretty much the end of their empire. They get whooped by the Grecians after when Darius III is king. So he's the co-regent kings, but Darius over Babylon and Cyrus over the rest of Persia, right? And he's the king in the Shushan palace or whatever, in Susa. All right. So kind of keep that in your mind a little bit. That helps you think about what's going on. So Darius makes that decree for men to tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God. It's the word's getting around. He is a true God. That's got to get to Cyrus and to the rest of the Persians. You know what I mean? They got other false gods, I'm sure, but they are learning this is the true God. Today, there are Christians in Iran because of this. I believe that. You know what I mean? There's still some Christians there. And God wants them to be able to worship him. Right? They don't want this persecution from these radical Muslims, you know, and it's troubling. It is troubling, but there will be some freedom for them to worship. It's going to come. The only bad thing is when the peace comes along, watch out. It's going to get bad. That's the only bad thing. But God's going to allow that for people to turn to him. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. So there's a lot going on, and it's neat how things do fit together. That's what you do learn a lot from studying this. So let's see, number 5. Why don't you do that for us, Dora?
Why exactly did this pagan King Cyrus say in verse 3? Ruha Elohim,
Uh-huh.
he is God.
Means he is God. So read verse 3 for us. You gotta get right back in my book.
Who is there among you of all his people who is God and with him? And let him walk with you in Judea and build the house of Israel. He is God, which is in Jerusalem.
Okay. To go up and to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. There rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and Levites with them whose spirit God had raised up to go and build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem.
Now, this is a very interesting part right here. It's the reason why I put the Hu Hawa Elohim in there is because most of this is in Chaldee except for that part. That's in Hebrew.
That's in Hebrew.
It's in Hebrew. And so this is the Chaldean king referring to the Hebrew God in Hebrew.
Why would he do that?
Well, I said because the influence of the high-ranking official Daniel, plus I believe God naturally moved his heart, and because it was his royal policy in favor with building deities.
Good. Good. Word's getting around. He knows what's going on in Babylon, right? He knows something about Daniel, definitely. He might even know about the Hebrew children, Mishael and Hananiah and Azariah in the fiery furnace. He might have heard about that, even though that's before their time in Babylon. But he might know, hey, how'd that happen? I mean, the word might have got around. I'm sure it did.
Now, let me interject because So you remember us talking about in Esther when it was customary when the kings couldn't sleep, they'd have the royal chronicles read. Okay, these were their specific chronicles. There is a very real possibility that this also had to do with the chronicles about Daniel and about the 3 children during the time of Darius. He could have actually brought that up to Cyrus as well and showed him how God had operated in his forefathers' kingdom. And so this would all influence him about what he was doing right there.
But definitely Daniel and the Lion's Den. I mean, that's a more recent one when Darius was king and he wrote that out. They duped him. You know what I mean? And he comes back and says what we read. People need to worship the true God, the God of Daniel. So, I mean, they are recognizing who the true God is. All right, should I pick on? Dave, how about doing number 6 for us?
Verse 5 says that God had raised the spirit of those certain people to go and rebuild the Lord's house of Jerusalem. What does this mean? If you think he still does this today, and why?
Well, that's easy. Yes or no?
Yes, he did. Here's the thing about this. They were comfortable. They weren't slaves. See, that's the part people miss. They think these people they weren't slaves. They were part of the community. This was an assimilation style thing. Okay. Now remember, we talked about how they went through this progression and assimilation became more and more. By the time that Alexander the Great comes on, the reason he's able to conquer the then known world pretty much in 12 years is through assimilation. Well, assimilation's already happening. It's starting. It's not its infancy, but its teenage years by the time we're reading this, right? So you have to realize that the Jewish people, they're being told they can go home. Well, they got houses here and land here, and children here, family here. Why do we necessarily have to go back? Except that God starts to stir them up. He starts to stir up in their hearts. And how that happened practically, we don't really know. It could be, my guess and I think a lot of theologians' guesses are this, is that this news that happened in the palace, and if Daniel was a part of that, which he probably was, but however it happened, they didn't have the internet and they didn't have Facebook, but they did have the backyard gossip fence. What would happen was news would filter. So it would start off in the palace and then it'd start filtering down through the people and it spread like wildfire. Well, this would have been like wildfire in the Jewish community, is that all of a sudden the king he's going to declare an edict to let us go back to our homeland. God stirs them up. Now all of a sudden the thing that they thought would never happen is at their doorstep. Just boom. One day they're a citizen of Babylon. The next day they can pack their bags and head back. Now, interestingly enough, they didn't all do it. But certainly not at once. It took at least twice, okay, for them to go back. Some of them still wanted to stay.
But God did have enough people that were prepared and ready
Yep.
to go.
Yep.
God did that. And one of my favorite stories, but in the Old Testament, God might prepare for something for you. He's got a job for you to do, Cindy. And you might not even know what it is, but you've already agreed to it. He knows the future. And it's like that widow Zarephath and Elijah, it's a drought. And God said, go and see her, talk to her. She's going to feed you. She's going to give you something to drink and give you water and all that stuff. And it's like in 1 Kings 17:9, I'll just read a couple of verses here. Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belonged to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I've commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the woman was there, gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And she doesn't have a clue. She's getting ready to make a little fire for her and her son, and that they both may eat it and they die. That's what she's thinking in her mind. But God said, I've commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. And that just blows my mind. She doesn't have a clue, but God said he commanded her. It might be in your heart. You don't even know it. You might not even know it. God knows what's going to happen. God, and he talks to her like that. Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water. Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water. It can be kind of bossy too. It's like, that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her, and bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. Go ahead and bring me some food too. And she said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first and bring it to me, and after that make for thee and for thy son. Go ahead and take care of me first. That's what I just like telling her.
You know what he's saying there, right? Give to God first. God the best first.
And then take care of you and your son. And it's like, he listens to God and she listens to God. She listens and she does it. For thus saith the Lord of Israel, you're never going to run out. And he believes her. She believes him, I should say. She believes him. We got to put our trust in God. Even though we don't know the future, we don't know what's going on, and God might have already told you what you're going to do, and you haven't got a clue yet. And you're going to agree to it. That just strikes me. These guys, they're going to go build a temple. They have no clue what's going to happen. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time, but God put it in their heart. God put it in their heart to do it. And he raised up their spirit. He knows which ones are going to go and which ones are not going to go. And they're going to get ready, and they're going to do it.
There's something, I think there's something to be said too. Daniel understood about, almost toward the end, about the 70 years, because he read Jeremiah's prophecy and God helped him understand. And I don't think he kept that to himself. I think that he shared that with a lot of the leaders in the Jewish community, and they in turn shared it with the people. So that probably by the time this happens, this edict's coming out, boy, a lot of them are rare to go. I mean, let's go home. Because you got to remember, the Chaldean people, this is where it said, the Chaldean people told them, said, sing us one of the songs of Zion. And they said, how can we sing one of the songs of the Lord in a strange land? And they hung their harps in the willow trees. they wouldn't even sing there, because they were so tore up about being exiled into Babylon. So my guess is that some of those that survived, or at least maybe some of their children, they were rare to go. They were like, yes, sir, let's go home. They did not want to be there.
All right, Deborah, how about doing number 7 for us?
Explain verse 6. Read it carefully. And what does the King James Version mean in the latter part of the verse when it states, beside all that was willingly offered? Verse 6 says, all their neighbors supported him with silver articles, gold, goods, livestock, and valuables, in addition to all that was given as a free will offering.
Okay. There's in addition to what was given as a free will offering. Okay. So besides all that was willingly offered, what do you think that, I mean?
In a nutshell, I think it means they gave a little beyond their time.
Yeah, okay. They just did what God, we just read that other verse, and raised the spirit of them. He put it in their spirit to give what they could, and they did.
And as they said, not all, everybody lacked. There was wealthy Babylonians, they became Babylonians. They were wealthy, and they supported them, gave them free will offerings, ones that were doing that.
Right.
This isn't the first time in Israel's history something like this has happened. There was another time in Israel's history, what was it? It's the time of Moses coming out of Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember when they came out of Egypt, it says they quote unquote spoiled the Egyptians. How'd they do it? The Egyptians paid them to leave.
They gave them all their
Go.
stuff. They gave them all stuff.
Now, in this instance, we're not really thinking that's what's going on. I don't think they're just trying to say get away from it. I think that they had done what God had told them to. They were there. They were good citizens of Babylon, which is why I tell us all the time we live in Babylon, be good citizens, So they were good citizens of Babylon. They had the favor of their neighbors. And I think God's hand was in that too, to give them favor. He did the same thing in Egypt. So this is literally a repetition. Egypt was the biggest event as far as captivity in Israel's history up to this point. So this is God showing I'm the same God now as I was in Egypt.
Okay. You don't have to read it again, but Judy, go ahead and do number 8 for us.
Okay. 2 Kings 24:13 states, you said 8, right?
Yeah.
2 Kings 24:13 stated that all of the vessels of God had been cut in pieces. So then, how exactly did Cyrus restore to the Jews what we read in verse 7?
So read verse 7.
Yeah. King Cyrus himself brought out the article that King Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Lord's temple in Jerusalem and had placed in the temple. Okay, I'm gonna have to straight this because it's kind of dark back there in the part of the city. King Cyrus himself brought out the article that King Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Lord's temple in Jerusalem and had placed in the temple of his own God.
Okay. So we read that 2 Kings 24 when we first got here. It's like Nebuchadnezzar, he cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon, king of Israel, had made in the temple of the Lord. So how did, it's saying that they're bringing these vessels back. Were they all cut to pieces?
No.
What happened?
Bible lied.
Only
Can't be trusted.
Only what King Solomon had made were cut. The things in the temple and the things in the palace were not cut.
Vessels were taken in 3 ways. And some of them it talks about cutting in pieces. That's where they were cutting off the gold plating or melting down specific, the larger things. But like they didn't completely destroy
Right. So you got some things, some gold is attached,
Yeah.
right? It's attached to posts or these big, huge basins or whatever, you got some things you can't carry them, you have to cut them off, right?
Read verses 8 through 11.
Okay. Hold on, I got Cyrus directed Meredith, the treasurer of Persia, to count these items and present them to Ishmael, the leader of the exiles returning to Judah. This is the list of the items that was returned. 8 gold basins, silver basins, 1,000, silver increased burners, 29, 10 gold bowls, 30, silver bowls, 110, other items, 1,000. In all, there were 5,400 articles of gold and silver. Is it Sheshbazzar?
Yep.
Brought all of these along with the exiles went from Babylon to Jerusalem. The last time I heard.
Okay. There's a little story that we read about in Daniel too, about this guy named Belshazzar. He had not humbled his heart, and he knew all these stories about Daniel and his grandpa Nebuchadnezzar. But he lifted up himself against the Lord of heaven and brought the vessels of his house before thee, thou and thy lords, thy wives, thy concubines, have drunk wine in them. Thou hast praised the gods of silver, gold, of brass, iron, and wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways. Hast thou not glorified? And it goes on. He gets the writing on the wall. What did he use? He used all those vessels. They weren't all cut into pieces. He's eating and drinking with them and partying with them, right? So they got all this stuff, and you just listed all those stuff. So it's like, they didn't cut up all the little cups, and there's no reason to do that, right? It's like, but they cut up the vessels that they couldn't carry, right? Definitely the ones they couldn't carry, or that was attached to something else.
So if they were cusses, they couldn't be used.
No. Oh yeah, had to take them apart, right? They had to cut them up, and they were made solid. A lot of them were in one piece, and they had to cut them up to get them, take them loose. But these are the same vessels, and they're going back to Jerusalem. Let's see here. We're going to pick on Cindy Lou. There we go. Number 9.
Prince of Judah in verse 8. What does that mean?
His name's a little bizarre.
It's just bizarre.
So, I had to Google this. You have to really Google.
If they Google it,
Who is he?
Joy in Babylon.
No.
Is what it means.
I didn't look at the hint or the next one, but you can cheat and look at the next one. But go ahead and look at Ezra 2:2. Just write down, just read ahead the next chapter a little bit. These came with Zerubbabel and all these names. So Cyrus says, by the hand of Meredith the treasurer, and numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, however you say it is, the prince of Judah. He puts him oversee it. But these guys came with Zerubbabel. Look at, let's see here, 5:2, Ezra 5:2.
All right, this is really confusing. When I first looked this up, I got, it means worshiper of fire. And I thought, well, that's it. So then it caught him and
Okay, what first?
enigmatic.
It's Sheshbazzar. Is that a Hebrew name or a Persian name?
Or that's a Babylonian.
Chaldean.
Chaldean name. Okay.
And I thought, okay, I've heard of enigmatic, and so I had to look that up. It said mysterious, puzzling, hard to understand.
Enigma.
Yeah, enigma. It describes a person, a smile, a message, or a situation that acts like a riddle. I thought, okay, I'm just getting more information. So then I kept searching, and then I got, it means a sun god.
There you
To
go.
protect the father.
There you go.
Well, then why is he also called a worshiper of fire?
That's why I asked this question. Very good.
So-
Oh, yeah,
So keep-
sun god. I remember reading something.
Read Ezra 5:14. Read Ezra 5:14. That's an important one. 5:14. Yeah.
And the vessels also of gold and silver of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem and brought them into the temple of Babylon. Those did Cyrus the king take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Sheshbazzar, who he had made governor.
Okay, so he puts this guy in charge, Sheshbazzar, who's also, his Hebrew name is what? Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. He gives him he calls him by his Persian name or the name the Chaldeans gave him. And they said unto him, take these vessels, carry them into the temple of Jerusalem, And then came the same Sheshbazzar and laid the foundations of the house of God. So you all need to know this. This Sheshbazzar guy is Zerubbabel. It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
All right, so Susanna just did what I was hoping somebody would do. She said, okay, so we know what Sheshbazzar means. What does Zerubbabel mean? You want to tell
I don't have it yet.
them? Look at this.
I looked that up.
Seed of Babylon or offspring of Babylon.
Offspring of Babylon.
Think about it. Babel.
Oh, I looked up his dad's name.
Zerubbabel. Babel is Babylon.
Babel.
Zerubbabel.
He led the first group of Jewish exiles back to Jerusalem after the Babylonian captivity ended.
So, but you got to remember that, and he's going to be named in different books, by different people. Had that Zerubbabel. You need to recognize that that's Sheshbazzar, the same dude.
Read this. Listen to this.
As a descendant of King David, his name appears in the genealogies of Jesus Christ in the New Testament.
You know that?
There's
There are two genealogies given, one in Matthew and one in Luke.
the Sheshbazzar is
Zerubbabel,
Zerubbabel.
son of Babylon, is mentioned. And he's in the royal lineage of Jesus Christ himself.
If it's the same guy. If it's the same person.
and this is the only place he's mentioned in the Bible.
No.
No.
So you got and that's what we're going to go ahead and do the next one, Cindy. Number 10.
Oh, Cindy Lou.
Come on. They go together.
In response to question 9, read Ezra 3:8 and 5:16, as well as 1 Chronicles 3:17 through 19. Does that help?
Okay. So what we've been talking about, so go ahead and read Ezra 3:8. Cindy, you got it? 3:8.
The construction of the temple of God began in mid-spring during the second year after they arrived in Jerusalem. The workforce was made up of everyone who had returned from exile. I ain't trying to read all his names. Including, Zebul's son. Yeah, and his fellow priests and all the Levites. The Levites who were 20 years older were put in charge of rebuilding the Lord's temple.
Okay, let me read it in King James. It says, in the second year of their coming out of the house of God of Jerusalem, in the second month, began Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel. Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, or whatever his name is, and the remnant of the brethren of the priests and the Levites, and all they were come into captivity. So he's the man, Zerubbabel. He's the man, he's the son of Shealtiel. Read 3 verse 2. Chapter 3 verse 2. Hope you just got the same thing. You ain't got the same thing? I'll read it in King James. It says, then stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and built at the altar of God of Israel. This same guy, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel. Look at Haggai 1:12. He didn't even mention that one, but I'll turn to that one. I like that one. Haggai 1:12. It's a little bitty book. I can't hardly find it. You got it, read it, yeah.
Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, the high priest Joshua, son of.
Okay, Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, right? Same guy. Talking about the same guy. So he's mentioned by Haggai and 1 Chronicles 3:19. 1 Chronicles 3:19. Go ahead and read that one, Dora. You got that?
And the sons of Nadiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei, and the sons of.
Okay, stop. Read it again.
And the sons of Nadiah were.
Pedaiah.
Yeah, that's all.
Pedaiah was what? Zerubbabel and somebody else and somebody else?
And the sons of Israel.
All right. All right. So the sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei. Is this the same guy? This Zerubbabel. Is this the same guy? Huh? The son of Pedaiah. The other one was a Shemaiah, whatever. Shealtiel. Shealtiel is the Hebrew name. It means I have asked God. I looked that up. But it's everywhere else it says Shealtiel, but I think this is a different Zerubbabel. So that's what made me mention, or made me think, I don't know if it's a descendant of Jesus or not, because it's in the Chronicles as having being the son of somebody else. So I don't know.
So I bring this up, and I'm gonna let you study it on your own.
That's when they wanted to do things like David and Sam.
All right. So this is where you have, there's gonna be another question in the next one that you're gonna have to pay very careful attention to. There are things in the Bible, names and numbers. And sometimes the names are given by different names, but it's the same person. And other times it's the same name, but a different person.
Right.
And you have to you can't take it always at face value. You have to look and see if it's talking about the same person. All right. Now, the one I gotta be careful. The one you're reading about here in Chronicles, if you look carefully, that chapter are the sons of David. So you have to ask yourself, is Pedaiah and Shealtiel the same person, or is the genealogy being reckoned through a different lineage somehow? That's the question you have to ask. Because Matthew, do you remember what the lineages do in Matthew and Luke, what the differences in them are? One traces it through the Davidic covenant,
Right.
and one traces it through the Abrahamic covenant all the way back to Adam. Same lineages, different routes.
Right.
So you have to slow down if you really want to know, and you got to ask the question, is it the same person with a different name, or is it the same lineage through a different person? How is it being reckoned?
Well, it's just like our genealogy, you got to turn on the turn.
Yes, so here's the thing. Now, the good thing is, I can help you out. The good thing is greater minds than ours have already done the work for us, and you can look it up and find out. But you have to ask the question. So in this one, you might want to ask the question, is the Zerubbabel mentioned in Chronicles the same Zerubbabel that is mentioned in Ezra? You might want to look that up and find out. I'm asking the question. She goes to me, she goes, do you know the answer? I'm asking the question. No, I'm not going
I
to.
know.
Because you'll remember. You'll remember.
And then if you give him the right answer, he's still in David's work.
Okay. Fun. Now we go into big genealogy later on next time. So.
So the
All right.
next question is, who in here enjoyed the book of Numbers? You remember the book of Numbers? How lovely that was. This one begat that one, and that one begat this one. Blah, blah, blah. You're all sick of seeing names. But we didn't get 10% into it until we realized all those things actually meant something. Right? So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna give you 2 weeks to do this one. Well, there's a reason too, because next week, when I come in to teach, Lord willing, we're going to be in Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to start tying in some of the things that we've been reading in these prophecies about the end times with what Jesus talked to his disciples about in the New Testament. All right? That's what I was going to say. See, Ralph gets the, because Ralph is an engineer. He loves all this technical stuff. Right?
Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Connie, you might need us some prayer. We'll break up. Amen.
Did you all hear what Dora said? She looked it up.